Coming up next, why a third of people can't even tell you what their strengths are. And then, are people lying on their resumes? And my pal, our fellow Ramsey personality, George Campbell, joins us. And of course, we take your calls, and it all starts right now. All right, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show. Thrilled to have you with us as we talk about you, specifically what you were born to do, and then how do you max out that thing? If you were in fact created to contribute, and by the way, you were, then how do you figure out what that is? And then once you know what that unique role is through your work, how do you get there well, and then absolutely max out so that when you get to the end of your journey, you look back and you say, I'm reminiscing, I'm not regretting. You were created to fill a unique role in your work. You are needed. You must do it. That is the philosophical statement of the Ken Coleman Show. That means no matter what your politics, your religion, your geographic location, it doesn't matter. The world needs what you have to offer. So this idea of working and living on purpose, it comes together. You can't separate your work life and your personal life. You can't. You can try. And so we want to help you be who you were born to be. So let's get to this. And so I've been diving in and doing a lot of research. I am a student of psychology. One, because I'm interested in how the human brain ticks, how we as humans tick, because it's not just the brain, it's also the emotions. I'm fascinated by it, always have been. But also I need to be aware about as much psychology as I possibly can, given the nature I've got you people calling in and I'm counseling and coaching you. So diving into some research recently, and I'm going to summarize it and then apply it to those of you right now who are watching and you're going, I think that's me. If Ken asked me on the air or in person over a cup of coffee what I'm really good at, I think I'd struggle to share it. It's fascinating to me. So I dug into the research. Here's what the research shows. About a third of the population really struggle to identify what they're good at. It's fascinating. So now there are largely, as I looked at the research, two reasons why those who study this say that this is the case. The first is there is a certain modesty that I think comes with being a decent human being. But I also think that this modesty is forced on us because at some point in our lives, and I think it usually starts probably late elementary school, if I had to guess. I have no anecdotal data on this. Certainly middle school and high school is when we first experience somebody who brags about themselves all the time. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, just think about it for a second. Hit your rewind button and go back to your life when you think you first began to experience somebody who was like, I'm so good at this, and they just yammering on about how awesome they are, right? By the way, we've done it too. Not only have we experienced other people do it, we've done it, and maybe we've been called out on it. We certainly have seen people do it. And so there is this combination of human decency. Hey, I don't want to come across as braggadocious and largely because I don't want others to feel maybe bad about themselves. And then there's this, I've seen people do it poorly. And so everybody's got some fear of when I say, what are you really good at? They're like, well, I mean, I kind of think I know, but if I say it and then my friends and family are listening, do they think I'm an imposter? It's all this bad psychology. And those of you who've been watching the show for a while, you've actually witnessed this. A caller will call in. Ken, I have no idea what I'm good at. And I think in the first couple of years, I felt a sense of empathy, and so I would dig a little bit more. Now I just literally hit them in the head with a 2x4. Just like, oh, yes, you do. Well, no, Ken. Yes, you do. Because what I'm trying to do is get them, I'm trying to snap them out of this reluctancy to say, I'm actually good at something. See, you can't be a human being and not have talent. I'm going to say that again. You cannot be a human being who is devoid of talent. You're not the one person that God went to sleep on. Oh, geez. Crap. There goes Fred. Fred was born and I forgot to give him talent. Aw, shucks. Every human being has talent, period. Even those of you who feel as though you've never won in life, you've never had an area you've won. I'm just going to tell you something. Your circumstances and your environment does not delete the truth. And the truth is you were born with talent. Maybe people talent, maybe technical talent, maybe process talent, maybe idea talent. I'm just going to tell you. Now, the second reason in the research that a third of people in this world struggle to share what they're good at is they don't know how to actually identify it. So the first group is that whole, well, I don't want to come across as a jerk. Let's just keep it simple, right? The second group really has a hard time identifying it. These are the callers I just talked about. They know inherently that they have talent. They don't disagree with me on what I just said, that all humans have talent, but they have a hard time describing it. And the reason they have a hard time describing it is because they're not fully aware of the specific talent. So they know they're good at something, but in the moment they're having a hard time putting words on it. And you cannot describe something you haven't seen. Ding, 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 ding. You can't describe something that you haven't seen. You put a witness on the witness stand, and you can find out real quick if the witness actually saw what they said they've seen. If they can't describe it accurately, they didn't see it. None of us can describe something that we haven't seen before. It's impossible. So a lot of this comes down to awareness. This is why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. Because for the first time in many adults' lives, they will answer questions about themselves, and if you do it honestly, we will reveal to you what you're really good at. But it is the ability to, and all the Get Clear Assessment does, is it takes you inward and you begin to see yourself the way the rest of us see you. You are not a talentless, passionless, missionless blob that's taking up space. So again, the reason I'm focusing on this is because when you begin to see what you're good at, those are the clues to the things that you love to do, to the results that you want to create. Passion and mission, which is the rest of the formula. Talent, passion, mission. I use what I do best, talent. To do work I love, passion. To produce results that matter to me, mission. Ding, 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 folks. That is as simple as it gets. You want to know what your purpose is? Figure that out. And it's not difficult, and I'm here to help. But the reason that so many people cannot tell you what they're talented at is because they've never truly seen themselves. Awareness. It's a game changer. And can I just say something? I just felt a prompt. 20 more seconds on this, we move on. For those of you right now who feel like you have nothing to offer, I think there's some of you that are watching me right now and you've been criticized your whole life. You've been told that you're nothing, that you're going to amount to nothing. You've been hurt and wounded so deeply that you don't think you have any worth. Can I just tell you something? Whoever said that to you, they were deeply, deeply hurt, deeply, deeply damaged. And so anything they said, anything they did to you has no bearing on the truth. If you can just for a moment, turn off the pain and get around some people who actually know you and ask them to tell you what you're good at, if that's what it takes, then do it. But some of you are watching me right now. I just know it. And you've been hurt so deeply. Whether it was verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, you feel as though you have nothing to offer. Can I just say that that is a lie from the depths of hell, and it's not true. If nothing else, you certainly have something to offer to people who've been through the wounding that you've been through. Because if you're watching me right now, you're alive. And if you're alive, you've got something to offer. I'm just going to put that out there. I didn't plan to say that, but I just feel somebody needs to hear that right now. You do have talent. You do have something that you can offer to the world. You've got it. Figure out what it is. Call me. We'll change your name. We'll change your location. If you got to talk to somebody and get this out, if you got to cry through it, come on. We've had lots of people cry on this show. It's not a big deal. But don't you buy the lie anymore that you have nothing to offer. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. It's toll free. 844-747-2577. If you're watching later, that means not 12:11 Eastern Standard Time. Know that we're live for 2 hours, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. You call that number, 844-747-2577. We'll try to get you on live. If we don't get you, leave a message. You can email the show too, ask@kencoleman.com. And we'll schedule you on there. Also, you can engage with me on Instagram. A lot of people, we're doing a lot of Instagram lives, going to be doing more of that, at Ken Coleman on Instagram if you want to reach out that way as well. All right, let's get to the phones. Midwest City, Oklahoma is where we start. Matthew joins us there. Matthew, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Mr. Coleman, thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
Man, I've been struggling, trying to figure the difference between a hobby and a passion, what I was made for.
Yeah.
And, it's, oh, yeah, I like to do something, but is it worth, putting in the time and doing it, getting what I need out of it?
Well, let's talk about that thing. What is the actual hobby that you've been wrestling with?
So I love grass, everything about it, lawn care, landscaping, all of that. But I feel like it's a total 180 of what, my entire career is now.
Which is what?
I'm a mechanic.
Automobiles?
Yes.
Huh. What would you do? Well, wait a second. So what do you love about being a mechanic? Anything? By the way, if it's nothing, tell me.
Well, so it started out like, I love doing this. And then, I've been here for 10 years and doing the same thing. I feel like it's just monotonous and I'm here for a paycheck.
Okay. So what do you love about being a mechanic, or what did you love somewhere along the line in the last 10 years?
I think, really the problem solving, someone come in with an issue.
Yep.
And you just figure it out and fix it. You know?
Yeah. Okay, good. And at the heart of being a mechanic, when you fix somebody's car, what's the result at the end of that you go, beyond problem solving? Because I know you like getting in there and going, okay, why is this not working? And tear this thing apart, figure out where the problem is, fix it. But beyond the solution, okay, what's the end result of being a mechanic of fixing a car that gives you the juice?
I mean, just knowing that somebody can make it from A to B is good for me.
Yeah. Think about it. Think about the single mom with 3 kids and her minivan breaks down and you fix it. What's on the other end of that for you?
Well, it's funny because, someone had mentioned, you've been here a long time and I think, you could be in management. And I told him, I said, I don't think I can because, I get not in trouble, but talking to about trying to give stuff for free all the time.
Yeah.
I love it,
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's what I was trying to drive you to. The thing you love about the single mom, and then the reason you try to give away services so much, is you are driven by service. You love seeing your work tied to making other people's lives better, whether that be giving them time to focus on their family or making a nice lawn look nice and landscaping look nice. I mean, you're all about the person on the other end of the work. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Okay, so let me go back to your initial question. Now that we've established what I wanted you to hear yourself say, your initial question was, Ken, how do I know if it's a hobby or if it's a profession. And then you went on to say, because I've been a mechanic for a decade, I love cutting grass. I love landscape. I love all things cutting grass, tractors. I love the smell of it. I love the whole 9 yards. I don't think you can deny that. So there are two ways we measure passion. Work you love. And this is where it goes from hobby to profession. Emotion and devotion. Now, anybody who starts off a phone call going, Ken, I love grass. Well, the emotion is there. You love cutting grass. You love everything around lawn care. So it's high emotion. You get excited when you think about it, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're in your happy place. You're in a state of flow when you're on a tractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, now, devotion. What does that mean? So a hobby for me is golf. I really get excited when I get the opportunity to go out and play golf. High emotion. But I don't play golf a lot. Low devotion. You see the difference?
Right.
If it's high emotion, high devotion, meaning that I get excited thinking about it, I get excited when I do it, and I don't want to stop doing it. I do it all the time if I could. That's the difference between hobby and passion. See the difference?
Right.
So do you have passion level for landscaping, lawn cutting, the lawn service business? Yes or no?
I think I do. I think what holds me back is the money aspect of it.
I get it.
I make good money here.
I get it. How much do you make as a mechanic?
So I'm pacing about $100,000 this year.
Okay, great. So here's the deal. If I told you today that I could guarantee you'd make $100,000 if in your lawn care business, how quickly would you leave being a mechanic?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Okay, then. So here's the deal. The only thing we have to focus on is not should I do it? It's when do I start?
Right.
So here's what we do. You start today, but you do not leave being a mechanic until you replace your income. So is that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? I don't know. But you do it on the side and you build it. So let's say that you're a 40-hour-a-week mechanic and you want to get this lawn service up and going. Well, you got weeknights and you got weekends, right? Seasonal.
Right.
It's seasonal work anyway until you get this thing going, until you turn cutting lawns into landscape maintenance, and that's year-round. So we start this on the side and we build it up. What we do is we get our financial house in order to where any money you make in the lawn care business, if you got to use it to pay off debt right now, that's fine. But we want to get to a point where every dime you make in the lawn care business goes back into Lawn Care Inc. bank account, and we build it up. And we build up two things. We build up savings, let's say $50,000, which is half of your annual salary. And then we build up enough clients to where we don't even need to tap the $50,000, but it's kind of there. And when the math adds up and you know you've got the business and you know you've got the cash set aside to where this is not a risky leap, we walk. We don't jump. We walk. That's the timing. Now you can do that, can't you?
Yeah, I think so.
So get after it. Cash flow everything. Do not try to make it in year one. Keep being a mechanic. Keep being grateful for the opportunity to do work that you're good at, knowing that you're building this thing on the side. And then you're going to get this lawn care business up to where you're maxed out. Then you hire somebody or two or part-timers, and you keep going. And you don't try to scale it too quickly. If you do that, you're going to win in this game. Do you understand what I'm saying, Matthew?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Keep going. Thank you for the call. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Hudson in Charlottesville, Virginia. Hudson, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how are you doing?
I'm living the dream, Hudson. What's going on?
Well, Ken, I work as a fundraiser, and in my organization, there is a focus on metrics and goals. And there's a number of different people in my organization that have the same title as I have. And we have the same goals, same metrics in which we're evaluated by. This past fiscal year, really performed well, top performer in my organization. This year doing well is in the fiscal year, even though it just started recently. About a week ago, our salaries were published, and it looks like I make in between 8.5% and 13.5% less than my colleagues. And so
Why were your salaries published?
So I work in higher education, and we're state employees, and so it's public data.
Oh, yes. One other reason why government's a disaster. Okay.
Yeah.
So now now you've been wounded. And
I think it's challenging because I know what everyone else makes, and I know how I perform and I can see their metrics as well, and we get an email to us how we're performing against our colleagues.
Oh yeah, this is no way around it. This sucks.
Yeah,
it's awful.
So
you're walking around with a pit in your stomach. So what's your question?
My question is, so I asked for a raise this past week based off of the data that I shared with you, and then we had a performance evaluation 2 months ago. My boss said they want to do everything they could to keep me around, and so on Friday of last week, my boss came to me and said that senior management said that I was not going to get a raise.
Of course.
And the reason is that my colleagues, while we all have the same title, they have more job experience. And so
is that true?
My question is, where do I go from here?
Is that true?
They have more job experience externally, and then they transition in. They don't have as much tenure at the organization I work at. Yeah. But they do have more work experience in total.
Right. Okay, so bottom line is you're in state government, and I used to work for the Commonwealth of Virginia, okay?
Okay.
I worked there for a while. I know how state government works, certainly in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You have essentially just found out that you have a lid on you, a lid that you are unable to lift anytime soon. Would you agree with my assessment?
Yes.
So do you want to work in a place where you've got a lid on you that you can do little to nothing about?
Well, I enjoy where I work. And,
I didn't ask you that. I know. Listen, I know that I'm pushing you right now, but I want you to answer truthfully. We'll get to what to do, but we can't get to what to do until we really assess where we stand. Do you want to work in an organization where there is a lid on you that you can do little to nothing to lift?
No.
Good. I don't care if you like it. How much longer is it going to take for you to, when I ask that question, you immediately go no versus, well, I really like it? How many more months before it starts to really weigh on you?
Yeah, not many.
That's what I thought. So let's go ahead and embrace the suck now.
Right.
I'd start looking. Now, what do you want to do long term? Give me the quick answer to that question. What's to the best of your knowledge, and you don't have to give me a title, what do you want to do long term? And how does this play into it, this current job?
I would like to stay in fundraising, but probably be a manager to drive performance for the entire team.
Okay, great. And so a fundraiser outside of state government would be where?
Maybe a private foundation or nonprofit organization.
Yeah, why don't we start looking?
Okay.
You're not unstable, but your heart has already been wounded. It's not going to get better. So start looking today. And let's go find an organization where you can take that experience you have and all those metrics, by the way, and that needs to be front and center of anything you apply to. Here's what I've done in state government. Why do you want to come to us? Because I want to be able to grow, and state government is limited on what I'm going to be able to do. Get your narrative right. And go out there and find a gig where you're raising money for a cause that matters deeply to you. By the way, those things are out there. If you believe in yourself, go do that. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to get any better where you are, and it's only a matter of time before the resentment that you have, and by the way, it's understandable that you have it. But at some point, you got to get beyond being hurt, even though you should be hurt. You got to get beyond it, or else it's going to end up taking you out. So the clock is ticking. You know it. I know it. Get after it. You can't stay in that environment. You just can't, folks. And that's a tough situation where you got, a public organization where everybody's salaries are out there. Leaders, can I just tell you, if you would just every day, at some point, sit still long enough to engage with this thought, you'd be surprised at how good of a leader you'd be. Here's the thought. The people I'm leading they have real thoughts and feelings. I need to be aware of that. I need to be aware that they're a person too, just like me. Some of the leadership decisions that are made are devoid of the human element. If you literally would look at a leader and go, flip the roles. What if you were on the other end of this decision? How would you communicate it? Excuse me, how would you want it communicated to you? I mean, just empathy, folks. Put yourselves in their shoes. I did not say that there won't be times in leadership where you got to make a tough decision. There's going to be a lot of those. But for crying out loud, put yourself in your people's shoes. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. All right, hey, so here's where Hudson is. Hudson's got to get out there. He's got to get out there and look. But here's why a lot of people stay in a situation like this. Because of the environment that we live in today, where you're out there applying and everything's online and you got to do a new resume 50 times a week and you feel like you don't get any response. You're just getting no feedback. It's like a black hole. And that stinks. I mean, it feels awful to put yourself out there and to hear crickets. You'd rather hear a no than nothing at all. That's why my friends at ZipRecruiter can help. ZipRecruiter will not keep you in the dark. They're the #1 rated job site in the U.S. because anytime your application gets viewed, gets a thumbs up by an employer, or your contact info was revealed, they send you a status update email. You know exactly where you stand. And once the companies are interested in you, ZipRecruiter lets them contact you directly. So it's a one-click process. ZipRecruiter is easy and it's free. Sign up right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken today and experience the better way to find a job. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today. All right, quick break. When we come back, my colleague, new Ramsey personality, George Camel, joins me. We're going to talk about your money and so much more. Don't move. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
Our world is changing, but so are we. Now, we see a smile through someone's eyes. We conquer our struggles and cherish each moment because we're shielded through faith and assured by hope. And greatest of all, we love. The world is different, but so are we.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. We're coming to you live from our Ramsey Solutions studios, and we are talking about what you were born to do. Coming up in just a moment, George Camel and I are going to talk about a new project that he is leading from Ramsey Solutions, which is the mothership of the Ken Coleman Show. That's going to be a lot of fun. George, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Ken. This first time.
Well, first of many. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. George and I are scheming and dreaming because a big part of this process for you folks of getting qualified, which is stage 2 of my 7 stages, you can get clear, but then you got to get qualified, and your money is a big limiting factor. George is a money personality here at Ramsey Solutions, and so he's going to be on the show from time to time as we help you see that I can walk through getting out of debt, and I can also get qualified. There are times where we can't do that, where we've got to press pause on getting qualified to get our financial house in order. But in the end, when you get your financial house in order, it's going to allow you to move faster through the 7 stages. But George, before we get to this, I thought it'd be fun to just have you sit in on one of our most popular segments of the show. This is all new to you. Are you ready to go?
This is an honor.
Nathan, let's do this. George joining me for In the News. You like that? We even
that
have a
theme
little
music
logo.
got me really excited.
It's got you excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
you feel like you're part of something real.
I'm an anchor now.
Well, yeah, you are. It's very nice. Here it is. Here's the headline, George. From ResumeBuilder.com, 1 in 3 Americans admit to lying on the resume.
Ooh.
Now, before we dive into that, the fact that 33% of Americans admit to lying on the resume tells me the number's way higher.
That's how many people were honest about it.
Right.
Goodness.
What do you think the real number is?
70%.
70% of people
That's
are
my
lying
guess.
on the resume.
Yeah.
Why?
Now, lying is a strong word. Embellishing, hyperbole. You know, maybe some things there where you want to look a little better than you really are.
Here's the key findings of this study. Resume lies are more frequent among higher earners.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm. The most common lie is in years of experience. 80% of people who lied were hired, but nearly half had the job offer rescinded after being caught.
Ouch.
Why is this surprising, folks? I mean, I just wonder how many of these people had good experiences lying to their teachers and parents growing up.
You got to have integrity.
Well, yeah, you do, because you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
So now this progress that you were lying to achieve is gone. Very interesting stuff. Let's see here. In a July survey, Resume Builder asked 1,200 people ages 18 and older if they'd ever lied on a resume, and found that obviously that 3 in 10 have. Experience and education were the areas where people lied the most. And I don't understand how you feel like you'd get away with lying about your experience, knowing that employers are going to check up on this, but I guess they're rolling the dice.
If you're going to lie about something that it's hard to vet. That's hard to verify.
Right. Then lying about education is a second one.
Oh, boy.
So 46% lied about their years of experience. 44% lied about their educational background. 43% lied about how long they held a previous position. And 40%, here's your word, George, embellished their skills or abilities.
That one I believe. We've all done that a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna fudge a little bit, there's your area.
That's where to do it.
But certainly not how long I held a previous position, when they can call up these people and go, how long was George there?
5 years or 2?
Oh, interesting. George told us it was 5. You're telling me it was 18 months.
Well, here's the thing. People look at the job descriptions and they go, well, they need 5 years experience. So, yeah, sure, we'll call it 5. We'll round up.
Very interesting. As you go deeper into the study, the people that did the study aren't surprised by the number of applicants who had their lies discovered, because there's multiple ways for hiring managers to vet resumes. Direct quote, many employers use internal or external services to verify education, job experience, and other certifications. Here's the bottom line. I remember years ago, Joe, you might remember this. George doesn't even know what football is.
Haven't heard of it.
So you wouldn't even know this. But there's a guy by the name of George O'Leary who was a very successful football coach at Georgia Tech. I was living in the Atlanta area at the time, but this was a national story. So he gets Georgia Tech to a really great place. He's building a program, and Notre Dame comes calling. Notre Dame. Again, George, you're going to have to look all this up.
I know that's a big deal. That's all I know.
You know, Notre Dame's a big deal. And football, I mean, they're like, when it gets to lore and prestige, Notre Dame is it. All right? This George O'Leary, he's not a first-time football coach. Well, he hadn't updated his resume, George. There had been a lie about his education in his resume for God only knows how long. So he's in the door. He's already signed the contract. National news, George O'Leary, dream job, Notre Dame. What happens?
Rescinded.
Comes out. Somebody in the old Notre Dame department does their actual homework on the full resume. Guy's already been announced. Lied about his education. It's a Catholic school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that a cardinal sin?
I think it kind of is.
Add that one to the list. Don't lie on the resume.
But there was no opportunity for George to do a confession.
He was out?
Gone.
Ouch.
Rescinded the offer. Dream job gone because he fudged on his education. And here's the irony. They didn't even care. Nobody cares about your level of education. Just don't lie about it. They hired the guy to be a football coach.
He probably would have got the job regardless. But the fact that he lied made him lose it. There's a lesson learned. Integrity. It all comes down to integrity.
All about integrity. All right, George, excited to have you here. As I said, George, which is interesting about George is George was here at Ramsey Solutions when I came on board in a marketing / social media guru role.
That's right.
So I moved from my initial position here, which I was kind of a hosted everything. The video channel, which back then was a full 3-hour gig, live events, MC, the EntreLeadership podcast, all the things. And so I move into the personality role, and George says, hey, I'm interested. He's very talented. He went through the whole vetting process. He steps into my role. Literally, it was the full baton.
Yeah.
And you did it for how long?
4 years.
4 years.
In that host role.
Yeah, and I was
hosting
in
live
that
events.
host role for about 3.5.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of this. I'm proud of you.
absolutely.
But
We
I'm
have
proud
a
of your
similar
journey.
career
Very
journey.
similar journey. So George steps into it, and behind the scenes, you've been cooking up some content this whole time. You're doing a good job hosting, but you were pretty excited about a different angle on money than we've previously talked about in depth at Ramsey Solutions. Give people a snapshot of the area that you're focusing on.
Yeah, so I like to see myself, as one of the Ramsey test tube babies, where I kind of grew up here. For the last 8 years, I've been on the team, and I decided early on, well, I should probably do this stuff if I work here, right? Because I love the mission, but I got to live it out. And so I started doing what we call the baby steps, the 7 steps that we teach in the money space to build wealth, get out of debt, all the good stuff. And it changed everything for me. And so as a 32-year-old, me and my wife works here. So we are fully indoctrinated in the Ramsey way.
Sure.
And we are months away from paying off our house.
Baby steps of it.
To baby step 7.
Wow.
And it's not because I'm special or super talented or really rich.
Yeah.
It's because we followed the proven plan. And so I want to spread the message, especially to these younger generations who feel like they're held back. And you take these calls, Ken, where they're saddled with student loan debt and they can't start their families and they can't do the things they want to do because of money problems.
Yeah.
And so I'm very passionate about helping people do it and making it fun.
Yeah.
And really going, hey, how do we create some margin in your budget today, this week?
Yeah.
This month, this year, so that you can start to see that it's possible for you too.
So there'll be the traditional money message, the 7 baby steps that you're going to be obviously taking to much younger people, which is great. But you've also got some unique ways that you're going to do that, kind of helping people save money while they're being disciplined of not spending as much money. Talk about that.
Yes. So I want people to be wise spenders, and a big part of that is learning where they can shave, learning how to save money. And this isn't about being real shrewd and penny pinching. That's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about being really intentional, doing your research, negotiating, finding tools, websites, apps to help you save money to create that margin so that you can have options, so that you can get out of debt faster, so you can save up and actually buy that house. Yeah. And so I want people to accomplish their goals, and I want them to believe it's possible, and I want them to have fun getting there. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a slog.
Oh, I'm very excited about this. So let's just put you on the spot right here, right now. Now, you know where I stand on college education.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not the only way, if it's not the best way, I say don't do it. I say no way.
Yeah.
Right? But there are many different ways to get qualified, even different schools. So I want to know if somebody called this show and they were like, all right, George, if we got a question and somebody said, look, I want to become a welder. What's the best way to do that? What are you going to tell them? You're Mr. Research.
Yes.
Check out all the different schools. I'm putting you on the spot. What would you tell them?
I put myself in their shoes and I go, okay, if I'm this person, I want to be a welder, I've got to figure out what my options are. And too many people just kind of stumble around and they go, well, I was driving down the road and saw a school. I want you to do your due diligence and go, what are all of my options in the given area that I'm willing to go to school? Yeah. And at that point, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to find out what's the sticker price here, and then what are the options for bringing that price down, right? Because there's a goal. For the business and for the school, it is to make as much money as possible for a lot of these places. And for the consumer, it's to save as much money as possible. There's no better example than the car lot, right? Yeah. You're going in and it's a battle from the start. You want to get the best deal. They want to make the most money. And so you've got to be in a defensive position, and that means doing your research, figuring out what the sticker prices are, what people are traditionally paying, what my options are based on my financial situation. Yep. So that you don't get hosed. That's and this is me early on. I had a scholarship to the state school, and I didn't know that you had to report it to get it. And so I didn't get the scholarship, and I went into student loan debt when I didn't have to because I didn't do my research. I didn't understand the process. Yep. So a lot of people are just stumbling into these things. They're not looking for their scholarships. They're not choosing the right schools. And we talk about this in our upcoming Borrowed Future documentary that's coming out. And I have the Borrowed Future podcast series that's been out for years now, where we unpack all of this and how to save money when it comes to education. Yeah, I love it. So we're going to have you on the show from time to time. We're going to partner up. We're going to figure out how can we help answer people's money questions, specifically how do I stay on the path to purpose but clean up my money situation? That's huge.
What's the best way to go about it? You're going to do that. It's going to be fun because the reality is if I have you on, it's easier to get you in here than Dave Ramsey. Number
100%.
one. Number two, you're a lot nicer than Davis.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be a win all the way around.
And here's my heart for this stuff, especially as it relates to your listeners.
Yeah.
I have so many friends that are doing jobs they don't want to do because they have to do them.
Yeah.
Because of their financial situations. They go, well, George, I'm in debt. I don't have the opportunity to just get up and move.
Yeah.
I don't have an emergency fund in case something happened. And I want to see people not held back by money, especially when it comes to their purpose and their career. That is how I think our pieces connect here.
Yeah, well, they absolutely do connect. So this is the first of many visits. Let's talk about this project. Brand new project called the Fine Print Podcast. This thing has come out of the gates hot. It's a fantastic show. Tell people what they get.
So this is what this podcast is all about. It's all about the hidden truths that are keeping people broke. And so we're really unpacking at a topical level with narrative storytelling in short episodes every other week to help them navigate these smart money decisions. Because a lot of people, like I said, they're stumbling through things and they're going, well, I'm using my credit card rewards and I'm using Afterpay services when I'm shopping and I want to rush into the housing gold rush because it's a good time to buy. And what happens is people are listening to the headlines, they're listening to their broke friends, mom and dad are pressuring them to make financial decisions. And all of a sudden you go, there's so many voices, I don't know what to do. And either you get paralyzed or you do something dumb.
Yeah.
And so I want to unpack this with real stories, with real experts, with humor, with research, with empathy to help people make better decisions. And these are, 20, 30-minute episodes every other week. So you can add it to your podcast repertoire very easily.
He is George Camel, the show from Ramsey Solutions. This is the Fine Print Podcast. Today's episode, Housing Gold Rush. You just mentioned it. Give us a sample. What are you giving away in this? You're going, wait a second, slow down. What do they need to be careful of? That title's very interesting.
Yeah, we said...
I gotta buy now, George!
Is now the worst time to buy a house? That's the title of the episode because it's the question people are asking themselves. And we interview Brian Buffini. You know Brian Buffini.
I know Brian was a good friend.
Fantastic, great accent.
Oh, yeah. I wish
Irishman.
I was an Irishman myself.
It makes you sound smarter. And he really is smart.
I would be a much bigger deal if I had an Irish accent.
Much bigger following.
Yeah.
So we talked to him about, he's a real estate industry analyst. He's trained thousands and thousands of real estate professionals across the world. And so he unpacks tons of stats, how we got here into this housing gold rush, what to do about it. He's got an inspiring
So what's
story.
the answer?
Well, I don't want to give it all away, but I'll tease this, Ken. Don't follow the market.
Yeah.
Don't follow the headlines. Yeah. Follow your budget.
Yeah.
I don't care what the bank says. I care about what your bank account says.
Oh, that's good, George.
And so this is where we unpack it with Rachel Cruz, who's one of our fellow Ramsey personalities. We talk about what are the green lights and red lights when it comes to, am I ready to buy a house?
Yeah.
We talked to a guy who foreclosed on his house back in the recession, back in the early 2000s, because he was pressured. And they said, hey, you got to get into this housing market. It's hot. Now's the time to do it. And he wasn't financially ready. He got himself in a real messy situation, and he was paying $1,400 a month on his mortgage, taking home $1,800.
Oh, boy.
78% of his income was tied up in the house.
Whew. Just had a little indigestion there.
Yes. And we're seeing this with Ramsey's new Q2 State of Personal Finance study. They found that, 3 out of 4 people are waiving inspection and appraisals. 60% are overpaying. They're paying way above asking price to get into a house, and they're cutting so many corners just to get into this thing. Yeah. And then we take calls on the Ramsey Show. We've taken these before, and people go, hey, I'm house poor. This mortgage is crushing me. What do I do?
Yeah.
And it's a hard situation. And so I want to help people avoid that with this episode because here's the thing, Ken. Here's the other side. Renters are going, I'm wasting money on rent. What do you mean? I don't want to be renting anymore. Or the first-time home buyers are saying, hey, I'm 26. I have a degree. I should be able to get in a home.
Yeah.
And it's just not the case, especially when you're saddled with payments, and student loan debt and car payments. Yeah. So we teach people to do things the right way when it comes to buying a house, and that means buying something within your budget. We tell people do this with a 10 to 20% down.
Yep.
20% will help you avoid that PMI, private mortgage insurance. We tell them to get a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage only, because that way, in 15 years, the mortgage is out of your life, worst case, and you can live your dreams.
Yeah.
And then we want you to have the payment be no more than a quarter of your take-home pay. And so that's some serious parameters. A lot of people are going, well, Ken, I live in a big city. I can't afford to do that. Well, you live in a high cost of living area, and that's just a reality of your situation.
Yeah, got to adjust to reality.
Exactly.
Well, it's good stuff. George is really, really good. He and I are going to have a lot of fun on this program. We're excited about some stuff that we're going to be scheming and dreaming about in the days ahead, so stay tuned for more of George here on the show. Again, the new show is The Fine Print. You can get it wherever podcasts are available, so go check it out. George, I'm going to have you stay with me as we wrap up today. We'd love to do this on Monday on the Ken Coleman Show, where we brag on people in the audience that are making some progress. We call it Momentum Monday.
I love that.
Breath of Fire is the one who shared this comment on YouTube. And George, I knew you'd appreciate this. Look at the way that's spelled. That's B-R-E-T-H-O, Breatho, Fire, P-H-Y-R-E. So Breath of Fire,
I would have never guessed that.
I think is what he's trying to do there, or she, who knows. Breath of Fire.
The creativity of the internet always astounds me.
Yeah, so here we go. I ordered 2 copies of the pre-order bundle of your new book, From Paycheck to Purpose, with the Get Clear assessment. One for me and one for my best friend. We both can't believe how much insight we got. All right, there we go. All right. I always like these momentums that allow me to promote the new book and the assessment, too.
They're doing it for you.
There? Fantastic. And then Linda from our Paycheck to Purpose launch team on Facebook. I'm Linda. I live in Oklahoma. I read the proximity principle, and I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, sometimes with success and sometimes without it. I've always known that I was supposed to be doing something, but was unsure which direction to take. Several years ago, I started on my path to decluttering my home. I was marginally successful. This year, I finally put myself in a position to learn from the experts. What I discovered was a passion for decluttering. I took the steps to get certified, and my business was born. I want everyone to have what I found. I love that, Linda. And George, what I love about those stories is out of our own pain, many times we see great passion. So here's a woman that's like, man, my life's an absolute mess. I'm going to get about the business of decluttering it. She figures it out, gets breakthrough, and decides to turn it into a business, much like Dave Ramsey got out of debt and started a business out of his trunk. And here we sit today.
That's incredible.
Folks, don't overlook the pain that you've been able to overcome and how it might be a clue or even a neon blinking arrow to your purpose. George Campbell, thanks for being with me. I got to get out of here, but before I do, remember this. You matter, and you do have what it takes. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.